Hello and welcome! Tonight on the show, we want to welcome you to the second annual Saucy Awards. We are so delighted to present our esteemed nominees, and of course, we will announce the winners. Please stay tuned. We are so excited to have you. This is Sauce Spoken.
And we're back. We are Sauce Spoken. We're the podcast detailing your favorite sauces, dips, and condiments. My name's Adam, and I'll be your host, and I'm joined here this week by my co-host, Tori.
Hello, that's right. And welcome to the second annual Saucy Awards. We are so excited to have you. I know you dressed up for the occasion. I can see you. You look very nice.
We can see you.
Yeah, we can see you.
When you're naughty or you're nice.
That's right.
When you're sleeping or when you're awake.
While you're sleeping, especially. But to my right is someone who I've never met before. I have no idea who this man is. Oh, wait, they're giving me a note. They say his name is Eric. Eric, he's apparently a co-host.
No, you've never met this man before because this is sober Eric.
Welcome, Eric. Yay.
Hi,
buddy.
Sober Eric. Yep, that's barely sober, but yeah, I'm here.
Well, I gotta say, we have a lot of ground to cover because it is Saucy Awards, but I think it's very important for us to time to catch up with the hosts.
Oh, we have no time to waste.
Time to catch up.
Very quickly.
Now, I will say this. Eric,
yes,
you've had a very rough past week.
I have had a rough week.
We
no doubt about
currently
that.
in recovery mode.
Last week, we went over to a local barbecue establishment, Wheelfish Grill, I believe is what their name is. We had a very lovely dinner.
Terrific dinner.
Phenomenal dinner.
There was a park nearby that I saw on my way there.
The four of us, me, your hosts, and of course, Big A, as he is known on the show. We had a ball. I ate way too much personally. We had a fair amount to drink, nothing crazy, but definitely too much to eat for me at least. But I think other than that, pretty good time. But we went back to my house after that, and we decided to burn off a few calories. We threw the old frisbee around a little bit.
Of course. Your usual Friday night, a bunch of 35-year-old guys throwing around the frisbee, getting a little sweaty.
And
it's a midsummer's night's dream.
That's a fun summer activity. You can generally do it with a beer in hand. So
yeah,
I did all night.
You sure can. You sure can, but you can also go a little bit harder if you want to, which was your choice, Eric. You
play extreme frisbee.
You really wanted to catch that frisbee. My yard has a pretty decent slope to it. I know a couple times you took at least one time you took a running leap headfirst into a somersault to attempt to catch the frisbee with a acrobatic flair, so to speak. Now,
quite the flair.
You didn't quite catch the frisbee, but you did make an impressive somersault, and it was very more athleticism than I thought you were capable of. So I was rather impressed. But immediately after that, I said, Eric, do not ever do that again on my property because you will hurt yourself. And I proceeded to tell you that every 5 minutes after that.
Yes, you did.
Until, of course, the second time when you elected to do that, immediately you dove directly onto your shoulder and separated your AC joint. Very similar, as an astute listener will know, as I did last year when I was dicking around on my bicycle. You and I, Eric, and we were on a bicycle ride.
Yep.
You're the shoulder buddies.
And I was jumping, and I fell on my left shoulder, much as you did.
Wow.
Separated my AC joint, much as you did.
What are the odds you guys would have the same injury after hanging out together?
Yep.
Wow.
And doing equally stupid things. And yours was probably more easily preventable. There was some warning signs there that you could have heeded, but you chose not to.
The shoulder pals.
And so needless to say, you're recovering from that injury. Very painful, very unpleasant injury, much the same as I did last year.
Yep, a lot of physical therapy.
Right around the same time, right?
Yeah, right around the same time. About a year and 2 months maybe apart. And
don't ask for who the bell tolls, my man, because it tolls for you and your shoulder. It's coming for you.
When I was at the orthopedics, actually, it was kind of funny. The doctor said that he was had just come from the previous patient who had the exact same AC joint separation while riding his bike.
It wasn't an unfortunate frisbee accident.
It was not a frisbee accident. All the doctors and nurses got quite a laugh at that too. They were all like, "Frisbee, really? Frisbee?" I said, "Yeah, you got to go for it. You got to dive."
No, you don't have to. You chose to, but you certainly don't have to. And then and we're recording a little bit less in advance than we usually do because we had to put the show off a little bit, so we're recording on a Friday. Normally record on Thursday. Tori, you had some stuff you had to attend to, and then Eric, of course, you had a very important engagement last night.
Yeah, there was
you had a work party.
A work party.
Yes. Would you care to elaborate on this work party, Eric, that prevented you from being able to attend the recording?
You're currently being interrogated, if you couldn't already tell.
I can definitely tell.
Okay.
Yeah, the work party was good. Met a couple coworkers I didn't even know. New outside salespeople I didn't know. It was a good time, chatted them all up, and everybody pretty much went home at 9 or 9:30, which would be adequate, normal time to quit. And then there was
on a Thursday
night. There was me and 2 other coworkers at the bar, and they started ordering up them shots, and I just didn't say no. So yeah, that was a poor decision.
Yeah, it was a poor decision. To summarize the briefest summary of events,
I've spent most of my day in bed recovering.
You had a couple incidents. You didn't quite make it to your car. You had a little upset stomach, to say the least, so you made a little bit of a mess.
Tum-tum issues.
You found someone to take you home, thank God, because you had passed that on the ground next to your car. And you lost a couple articles. People were a little bit concerned about you this morning. You did make it home, but people were a little bit concerned because they couldn't reach you on your telephone because you had lost that as well.
Yep.
And you had to have a little visit from the local constable to perform a
little wellness check.
You just been served.
Perform a wellness check.
Oh,
so,
boy.
Luckily you were, I won't say well, but you were alive.
Right, yeah.
So you're here today to join us for recording, which
Party
is the important part. So
it's not a party till the cops show up, my man.
That's what many people say.
That's all right.
Eric, you may be underestimating the positive effect this podcast is having on your life. It may be saving your life if you get into more of these events.
He's an international celebrity now because of this podcast. That's why he's pulling all these ridiculous stunts.
That's could be true. He's gone off
trashing
the rails.
hotel rooms.
He's got
and
way too many girls on
Yeah,
Hinge.
he's just outlandish.
He's got too many.
Just a lifestyle that
too many
you just can't keep up with.
Lonely lady listeners calling him up to he's all gone to his head.
All the groupies.
He's thinking he can do jumping somersaults, and next week he's thinking he can get 25 beers deep on high proof IPAs. So
and then go on a parkour course and jump off a roof.
Yep. Don't be jumping off any roofs. But I've just summarized your weekend, I think, in a nutshell.
Pretty much.
Eric, Tori, do you have anything to add to that?
Not to add to that, but
about yourself.
A much nicer, I think, turn of events and a nicer catch up. I'm playing a new game and I love it. It's called Stray.
Oh, fuck.
I'm sure everyone heard about it. At least I hope so. And if not, go on to Steam or PlayStation Network and download it. And if you're on PlayStation now, it's free or included with a subscription. So what are you waiting for? It's cool. You play as a cat.
Now, are you playing on the Switch?
I am playing on the PlayStation.
PlayStation, okay. I was not sure what platforms it was available for.
PlayStation and Steam.
Okay, I was going to say, I knew it was on PC. I didn't think it was on Switch, but it seems like a game that could be on Switch pretty easily.
I don't see why not. I mean, layouts.
It's not graphically intense, and the controls aren't that particularly complex, so...
No.
All right.
There's a meow button.
Oh! Is there really?
Yeah.
I think it's particularly interesting because you happen to have an orange tabby around which the game is based, Tori, as do I, a little orange tabby kitty. So I would be curious to see have your cats watched you play?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, last night.
Did they enjoy it?
Yeah. A little boy was on my lap, watching, chilling, loved it.
Little Len?
Mm-hmm.
That's funny. I'm curious what my little girl would think because she already is fascinated with the TV more than any other cat I've ever had.
Oh, it's nice.
So I feel like watching that game would be particularly enjoyable for her.
Nice. Yeah, it's super cool. It's so fresh, and it just comes off, to me at least, is very, very an original concept. It's hard not to like.
Cool.
You sent that picture earlier in the week of Elden Ring and then Stray.
Yeah, making the meme, the comparison,
Time for kitties is done.
Yeah, you kitty boys playing your Elden Ring.
Time for the real gamers to come out.
Time for the real men. Play
Wake up.
a 4-hour cat game.
Is it only 4 hours?
It's really short.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's brief? Okay, I guess that makes sense. I do want to play it. I fully intend to at some point.
Yeah.
What was the cost of it? Do you know? Is it full price AAA game?
$30.
That's very reasonable, I think.
Yeah, they priced it according to the length.
Very fair.
Yeah, if you have the subscription service, of course, it's included, so...
Cool.
Hop on and download it. Or you can stream it, for that matter.
Well, that's interesting, and I think to tie things off, I've got a little bit of a soft-spoken rewind.
Yes.
Soft-spoken
Okay, going back to last week where we tried Nutella, and I wanted to give a couple little updates on Nutella. I did a little bit of research, First of all, Filberts and hazelnut are the exact same thing. We talked about this last week, and Eric was very confident they were different. And I said, are you sure they're not the same thing? He said, absolutely not. They are the exact same thing.
Yeah, I was pretty sure they weren't. How about that?
They are absolutely the same thing. A little bit more research showed that Nutella, we mentioned on the front, it says it's 21 grams of sugar per serving. And I said, how is it 21 grams in 2 tablespoons? I said, is that like, are you sure that'll even fit in 2 tablespoons? And it turns out that Nutella per serving is 21 grams of sugar out of 37 total grams of contents. So pretty hefty amount of sugar there, but not more than the 2 tablespoons.
Oh, good.
We also made a statement last week about comparing Nutella to like a Smucker's jelly in terms of sugar content.
I'm sticking to my guns on that one.
As it turns out...
Uh-oh, here we go.
Smucker's has more?
The arrow through the heart.
No, you're actually pretty close to correct. I will say this.
Nice.
So Smucker's Grape Jam has a similar amount of sugar to Nutella.
That was a guess. That was a stone cold
No,
guess.
you're correct.
For what it was worth.
Absolutely do have a similar amount. Now, I will say this, that Nutella does have slightly more sugar per serving than Smucker's Grape Jam. Not by a lot. I'm talking like a few grams, but it is marginally more for Nutella. That being said, Nutella has twice the calories.
Get out.
Twice the calories per serving, per equivalent size serving of Smucker's Grape Jam.
Ain't that some shit?
Because Nutella not only has the sugar, but it also has the fats from the oil.
Palm oil.
Exactly.
Right.
So that was a surprising revelation.
And probably less fiber, I would bet, too, depending if it's strawberry seeds.
I did not look at that. I only looked at grape jam.
Marginal at best.
And like I said, it is worse for you in sugar, marginally and significantly worse for you in calories.
Ain't that something?
So I did think that was interesting. But you were
How
correct.
does it stack up on banana application? Nutella blows it out of the water. It's not even a guess.
As opposed to grape jam? Yeah, I would say
that was the joke.
I would say that you're confident. But and so that was all I had for Nutella. But we also mentioned, and this ties in a little bit to last week, because you mentioned that you guys came over last week, and Eric, I know, opened my fridge and commented on how empty my refrigerator is.
Oh, it was very empty.
Which I thought was an interesting take. But it makes sense for Eric, because Eric, your refrigerator is jam full with things years old at this point.
Years old, and mostly, honestly...
You have sauces probably from episode 1 or 2 in there.
I think our next episode should be a whole recap of what's in my fridge.
We are not retrying the sauces.
No. We don't need to retry, just to go through it and see which sauces are still there and
That's
why.
terrifying. But I thought it was interesting because last week, Eric, you made a very distinct point to mention waste not, want not, which is something you've said many, many, many times before in reference to licking the lids of things like the Nutella jar.
You love this. I think you love talking about it as much as he loves doing it. It's like a vicious cycle. It feeds itself.
Kind of, right? Yes. Eric is my foil, as it were. But I did want to mention that, and I talked a little bit about this before. I touched on this very briefly, but leaving something on the lid and throwing the lid away is not waste. The waste is created at the point of sale. That is a purchase that is creating the waste. Now, if you were going to say, like, eating the amount that's left on the lid will keep you from one serving and keep you delaying your purchase for one more week. Okay, that's waste not, want not. But in general, the wasting is created when you make that sale. Like you eating those last few calories off the lid is not saving you a serving or anything like that. That's just putting more calories in your body that you don't need, which is a problem. And I bring this up because one of the biggest problems in this country...
It's like the Clean Plate Club, yeah.
Well, exactly. That's one of the biggest problems we have in this country is the obesity epidemic.
Sure.
And the problem with that is that mentality of forcing your kids, indoctrinating them early from an early age to eat everything on their plate and go push past the point of fullness to avoid wasting food is what causes that type of obesity epidemic.
Absolutely. I mean, and I fully know I'm 100% indoctrinated into that. I mean, that was the thing when we were growing up. Like, you had to finish your plate.
Right, exactly. And so what I'm saying is that is actually way, 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 way more of a problem than that quote-unquote waste that you're leaving on the lid, like that idea of not losing those calories when you'd be far better off as a country as a whole to avoid that kind of behavior. So I would say, like, I would encourage people, like, don't make your kids, like, finish their plate past the point of fullness. Don't train them to overeat from a young age. Don't put as much on their plate, plan that intentionally in advance.
Sure.
That's not waste. The point of sale is what the waste is.
You don't think the waste comes in the manufacturing?
Oh, yeah, the waste is all, let me put this with, the waste is all it's at the point of purchase and before that. There is a shitload of waste that goes on before that, too. Yeah, absolutely.
Just want to make clear that.
It's the same thing about, like, pushing off, like, carbon emissions and all that horse shit. Like, corporations are the ones that are responsible for that, not consumers. You know, it's the same thing with the recycling thing. Like,
they're just real good at making you feel bad about it.
That is why they run those campaigns, because they want you to feel empowered, like it's your fault and like you have control over it, when in fact it's really not. Now, that's not saying that, you know, it's completely unhelpful to support that kind of endeavor, but what I'm getting at here is that, Eric, licking the lids is not creating any waste. That's not causing any waste. If anything, that's reinforcing that obesity epidemic that we have in this country. And
Oh man, Stretch Armstrong.
I mean, sometimes I also just wash the lids off, you know, into the sink.
That's fine.
Too. Which again, you give me shit for washing my trash, but I just like to.
Well,
if I can
don't
get away
give you
with
shit for
it.
washing your trash. I do.
That's weird.
I give you shit for recycling when I think it's pointless, but that's, like I said, I could be wrong about that too. But that's, like I said, that shit gets dumped straight in the Pacific Ocean. But this also ties into like part of the vagary in English language with. We've talked about before with words like spicy. You know, we don't have separate words for spicy as in like cayenne peppers versus black pepper or horseradish. We don't have separate words for waste as in like 1920s kids are starving, they need the extra calories waste, and waste as in like I'm throwing something away so I don't get fat. You know what I mean?
Sure.
We don't have separate words for these things. So just, that's all. And also when you go down that road, that's the kind of thing that leads to like hoarding mentality too, which also, you know nothing about, Eric. So.
Nothing about, no.
So that's all I wanted to say on that is that don't force your kids to overeat. Don't train them from early age to overeat. You know, portion them appropriately. You know, put stuff back in the fridge, whatever you got to do. But the waste is created already once you purchase a product. Once you bought the Nutella, the waste is already done. That is at its final stage. What happens with it after that is irrelevant. The only thing that would cause it to be more waste would be if throwing it away makes you go out and purchase more sooner, which licking the lid does not. So
Right.
Our boy's on the pulpit tonight.
I am on the pulpit.
He's letting you have it.
But I'm getting back off the pulpit because it's time for us to get into the Saucy Awards round 2, and this has been a long wait. This is only our second Saucy Awards ever done. We did our episode last year, and it's been almost exactly a year since then, which I think is interesting to me, and I'm curious on you guys' perspective, because to me, it feels like it went a lot faster for the second year.
Yeah.
Faster, but I feel like we've obviously I know we tried more sauces in the first year, but I think we did more like groupings.
What do you mean we tried more sauces?
Like the first year we did like 3 sauces, and then
I think we actually did more sauces in the second year.
That's what I'm saying. The second year we had more.
Oh, okay.
And I know we did more groupings of sauces too, like more like big packs of stuff.
Well, it's tricky because we did that giant like bunch of like hot sauces and shit, you know.
Right. And
we had a real run.
Sauce.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we had a couple like skipped weeks and stuff because we did our Saucy Awards for the first year on the actual date that we started recording, not based on the date, like not based on release date, if I guess that makes sense, because we had a little bit of a gap there. We missed a couple episodes in between prior to our formal release. So this is our first full year episode.
But it did go quickly, I think.
It did go quickly. And the unfortunate thing is I feel like a lot of the first year sauces were more memorable to me than the second year sauces. That was the only thing that I was a little bit, felt a little sad about. But without further ado, it's time to get on to the Saucy Awards for year 2. Now we've got 5 categories, much like we had last year. We toyed with the notion of changing some up. We ultimately ended up with coming back to the same categories that we had for the first year, because I think they did work relatively well. And I think the one that I was most iffy on was a foreign flair, which initially I didn't think we were going to have a lot of candidates for, but upon reflection, we actually did. So for the listeners that didn't listen last year, the categories we're going to do this year are Mr. Universe, which is essentially the sauce with the most universal appeal. Toilet Treasures, which is sauces with an X factor that possibly wasn't factored in to the original flavor rating. Dapper Dipper, which I think is relatively self-explanatory, which is the best dressed sauce. That's the sauce that came in like the neatest container, the neatest bottle, whatever. And then the Comeback Kid, which is essentially the one that we initially didn't like, but then was later salvaged through like a soft-spoken rewind or Eric doing a little salvation on it, you know, doing a little bit more research, learning more about it, what have you. And then last we have the Foreign Flair, which is essentially the sauce that we like, not necessarily the highest rated, but the sauce that we thought was the most interesting of a foreign manufacturer outside of the United States. All right, so the first category for this year is going to be the Mr. Universe category. Now, this is very self-explanatory. This is something that has the most widespread appeal. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce the nominees for the Mr. Universe category in this year. And the nominees are going to be, in no particular order, are the In-N-Out Spread, Nutella, and the Manwich Original Sloppy Joe Sauce. Now, this will start the debate period. Now, I'm curious what your guys' thoughts on this. To me, two of these were obvious, and the third one was not quite as obvious. What did you guys think?
I know which the obvious ones you're talking about, of course. I think the In-N-Out Spread and the Nutella.
I was going to say the other way. I was going to say, I mean, In-N-Out Spread, people don't realize what I think In-N-Out Spread is as much because it's not widely available. I think the
At least to you.
To us, right,
Yeah.
to half the country. To half the country, it's a little harder to get. But I mean, if you tell them what it is, and you're not looking at the sauce specifically, but more like what kind of sauce it is, and it's like, oh, well, this is a very well-loved, it's special sauce, basically, at McDonald's or whatnot.
It is special sauce, but it's better, as we discussed.
Yes.
It's made fresh. You have to be kept refrigerated, which is what was so tricky for me to get it back from California for us to try. And it's got a lot more, like, fresh, interesting flavors to it. It's definitely a step above your average special sauce, which I think bears mentioning.
It does, and that's true about it. I just think that it was, I don't know, when you just came out and said that two are obvious, or two are, you said were like
right.
obvious.
Two are obvious, maybe one is not obvious.
Yeah, that was my thinking. Is that what you were even thinking when you said that?
No,
or
I was actually thinking the Manwich was the not obvious one. I do think that like In-N-Out and Nutella are both very phenomenally popular brands. I think the Manwich is kind of like the sleeper hit on this one.
I agree.
But at the same point, think of who hasn't grown up in a household that didn't have Sloppy Joes or Manwiches. Maybe that's just our experience in this area of the country, but I do think that is a phenomenally popular food for middle-class households to get a big family through the dinner week,
Loose meat, Wimpies. I mean, the vernacular alone lends itself
Absolutely.
to, this widespread appeal. So, I mean, yeah, I think Manwich fits right in there. But in terms of what we got going on here, in terms of Mr. Universe, I included that one as the sleeper as well.
I think it's tricky. I do think it is a sleeper. Now, it bears mentioning that this was one that was a tiebreaker runner-up. Honorable mention goes out to Great Value Traditional Italian Dressing, which we also like, but we all ended up in the tiebreaker.
Speak for yourself.
Well, in the tiebreaker, we all ended up voting for the Manwich Original Sloppy Joe Sauce, and I think for those reasons, especially with the popularity of the Midwest areas, I do think that is a no-brainer to include it.
Yeah, I agree. In fact, I mean, I kind of wish we had included our friend Allie or some other, person outside of the country to see if they knew Manwich or if they have any concept of it. I think I almost want to say that.
Huh.
I don't know.
That's interesting.
I wonder if, UK.
At Manwich UK on Instagram.
Yeah, I do doubt it.
Yeah, I sort of doubt it, too.
I would be curious to see even in New England, because that's not that's more, like I said,
sandwich.
We agreed this is more of a Midwest food. Now, as Eric had astutely mentioned in the episode, we are in the northeast part of Pennsylvania, where we call it
Northeast. Yeah, nice, Adam.
We are in the northeast part of Pennsylvania, as you mentioned, Eric. So we are pretty close to the New England states. But like I said, I know it's very popular out here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
That's right,
Eric, the Southwest.
Southwest, but it is I mean, I don't know. The first time I had Manwich, I guarantee I was in Massachusetts. I was out in Cape Cod. So
really,
all the way out on the arm. So I don't think you get much more east than that.
All right. Well, I'm sure that this is a thing farther west too. So that is a pretty interesting. That is pretty interesting. But I do think you make a very astute point about In-N-Out, which is that's my caveat to that, because that was an obvious choice for me coming in. But like you said, it's only available in the West Coast. I think the farthest east it goes is Texas.
Right.
So that's tricky. Like, how do you call something Mr. Universe when it only goes across maybe a third of the country?
It depends on what lens you're looking through, my dude.
That's true. I do think it has universal appeal, though, as far as flavor.
No question. Through the lens of this show, through the lens of how we see Mr. Universe and compare it against his competitors, it may or may not be a winner. There's a reason why it's there.
Right. So
mic drop moment.
That is a tricky
That's a bra moment.
And it's a bra moment. But I do think that the popularity of Nutella also speaks for itself. I think that's one we focus least on because I think it's an obvious choice.
Right.
It's a fad. It's a massive, widespread thing, and it has
got its hooks in me, and I know I'm not alone.
For many, many, many years across many households. Maybe, as we mentioned in our episode, maybe some inauthenticity to their messaging, subconsciously or consciously, but regardless, it is what it is. But
and Nutella, I probably should have brought up during the show of Nutella, so it can be fact checked now. But I'm sure Adam's gonna shit all over this. We'll see if I'm wrong or not.
It is frosting.
I'm pretty sure that Nutella is one of the things that like is packaged in little packets and spread out by like UNICEF, isn't it? Like peanut butter and Nutella packets are like, you'll go over to Africa and they're like, yeah, we love Nutella because
it makes sense. It makes sense. It's the same. It's the same thing as like climbers and stuff. People like that. It's just calorie food.
Sure.
It's just dense calories. Like you said, it's 4,000 calories in one of those bricks you bought over tour. So like, yeah, it's dense calorically.
I still haven't marched through it. I mean, when I listened to the Nutella show, whatever that was today or last week,
right.
I lose long tracks of time. But at any rate, when I was listening to the Nutella show, I probably won't be through that 2-pack by September. I know E was giving me a hard time and getting in the weeds with the technicality. I know. After I thought about it, yeah, I do go on hot streaks. Don't get me wrong, but
yeah, that makes sense. I totally get that. But I would say, without further ado, let's get to a vote on the Mr. Universe sauce. We've got, again, our 3 nominees. We've got the In-N-Out spread, we've got the Nutella, and we've got the Manwich. And so we're actually going to go ahead and write down our choices for Mr. Universe, and we'll reveal those at the end of the show. We're making this shit up as we go along in case it's not painfully obvious, because to be quite frank with listeners, I couldn't fucking remember what we did last year. We actually had to go back and do a little listening to figure it out.
And still didn't do that.
And we still didn't do that. So, and like I said, we're still changing the format a little bit. So, making shit up as we go along, fucking deal with it. But we'll announce the winner at the end of the show. But for now, we're going to move on to the Toilet Treasure. Eric, do you want to go ahead and lead us off with the Toilet Treasure as the toilet member of our podcast?
Nice. It might be a little difficult because I don't have glasses, but I think if I squint hard enough, I might be able to see there.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what. I'll read you off the category, and you can lead off the discussion with them. But I'll read off the category and what the nominees are for you. So, the Toilet Treasure is our sauces with an X factor that possibly wasn't factored into the original flavor rating, but something that stands out regardless. And this was one that we were perfectly clear on. We didn't even have to do a tiebreaker. The 3 final nominees for this are Vienna Beef Chicago-style hot dog kit, the Black Truffle Oil, and the Melinda's Original Habanero XXX Extra Hot Sauce. Do you want to go ahead and lead us off with the debate for that, Eric? Your thoughts on it?
Well, we couldn't have like 3 more different kind of things. You got yourself a savory oil, you have yourself a hot sauce, and then you have yourself a style of hot dog, which is really strange because it's not even really a sauce. It's
not only
Vienna
that,
beef.
Yeah, a kit which we never had in Saucy Awards before.
Right, if that doesn't scream X Factor, I don't know what.
A whole fair, kit, right? Yeah, it was really interesting making these episodes. Well, and then also really interesting coming up with why these are going to be our toilet treasures. I think why I selected them would be the truff oil had an incredible flavor, but it was also like, I remember like it fell away in the flavor profile.
Yeah,
like
it fades fast.
It fades fast.
It's more of an aromatic almost.
Yeah. It hit you in the nose and you were like, wow, it's incredible. And then it faded really quickly.
Pungent and weird. It's got that foot Parmesan-y, weird, rotten, tasty smell.
And then did you cook something too? A pasta?
I've made several things with it. I made a bolognese with it. I actually put some in the chili that you hated, Eric, that you shat on so much. I put it in a variety of things, and I still have, most of the container left, to be quite frank. So
right. So it was, so we've had it a few times in other instances too of like, trying it in different mediums. So that was one of the reasons why that one I thought
and
really
larges
to be in here.
In the case of my chili batch.
In what?
You said mediums, and I said larges because I made a big batch of chili. It was a joke, Eric. You fucking moron. Ooh. Jesus Christ.
Right over my head. Yeah. And then that Melinda's, for me, I think that would have made that one really stand out is that X factor to me was the amount of hot garlic flavor that I managed to get in there. Because there's like a habanero.
Hot, but flavor.
Yeah, it was habanero, but it was also garlicky, and it was just so flavorful.
It was good. That's the tricky thing, and we talk about this a lot with hot sauces. To get a hot sauce that's that hot, but also has a good flavor is rare.
Absolutely.
What are your thoughts on that, Tor? Because I know you're a picky man on heat to begin with.
I'm very torn, to be quite honest with you. I think this lineup, any one of these 3 would be a perfect I think they're phenomenal nominees, and I think any one of them would be a fabulous winner. As you guys were conversing and carrying on, I wasn't giving Melinda's too much credit. I thought, okay, this is between Bienavif and our boys at the Truff. But, as you guys are reminiscing about this Melinda's, it's all coming back. And now, and across my mind that it is so tight, I might have to employ the use of a random number generator between 1 and 3 because, it could really go either way. I mean, they all have an X factor that is there, that is noticeable, tangible. Tough call. Really tough call.
It's tricky for me, too. I think my mind is made up, but to be honest, and the thing about this, too, is that they all have an X factor, but very different X factors. They're not even like comparable X factors. They are true X factors. I would actually go so far as to call them X, Y, and Z factors. They're so different.
Yeah.
If we had the time and the patience and everything else, I think all 3 of these could get an award for said X factor that you mentioned, whatever that may be, whatever we would conjure up. But yeah, boy, this is a tough one. I think this is one of our finest examples of democracy at work, if you will.
Yeah, I agree. And man, this is a tricky one. But I would say with all that, let's stop the debate on toilet treasures. Let's go ahead and take our votes now, and we'll read those again, like I said, at the end of the show to you guys, and we'll reveal the winners.
Okay, well, the voting is in, and we're moving on to our next category. I hope you're excited. We certainly are. And this one is called Dapper Dipper. And for those who don't remember, this one is the one that exemplifies label design. This one showed up to the party on the 9s, very, very well dressed. And the label or bottle design is going to be reflective of that in these nominees that we're going to talk about shortly. And they are, we have, again, Truff, Black Truffle Oil, Mike's Hot Honey, and finally, a la Famiglia, Vodka Sauce is our 3 nominees for this very prestigious award.
And I think, no surprise, again, with that Black Truffle Oil, I'll say with that one, very sleek, matte label, nice,
incredible,
slender bottle, very cool, like onyx black, cap on it. I remember saying, even back when we first did that, I said, right off of that, this is a contender for Dapper Dipper.
No question.
And it made it easily into the nominees.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Oh, yeah.
Now, Tori, you actually brought us some Mike's Hot Honey, right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
That is correct. Yeah, Mike's Hot Honey is cool. I mean, it certainly has more of a hipster vibe, not such the sleek, refined sort of 007 James Bond Black Truffle Oil has. But yeah, I don't know. Mike's Hot Honey was pretty dang cool, with the little bee caricature on it.
Yep.
And I thought the font selection was nice, and the little foil, the foil lettering that was on there, a nice little glimmer, It
was gold, yeah.
Yeah, it helps me, my inner cat, my inner feline. I like shiny things, of course. So that was a main attraction. So yeah, and a la Famiglia, I don't know. I think this one's sort of limping into the finish line.
Really?
I'm going to be very frank with you.
Okay,
yeah.
I disagree. I actually think that, and this is why I'll say about this, the Alla Famiglia has a very, I would say, almost classic design. It's very like Italian.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like they've got kind of, all 3 of these are glass bottles. They have that in common. But other than that, they're all kind of an interesting appearance, but they all have very different stylistic choices, I would say. The Truff has a very ultra-modern approach. The Mike's has a very, like, homespun, hipstery kind of look to it. And the Alla Famiglia has a very, like, a classic Italian restaurant type look to it. And I think it's interesting. I'm not going to necessarily say it's my favorite. The voting will reveal that. A little different, like I said, a different take on it, but I think also a very handsome label.
Yeah, I mean, everything you guys are bringing up is very true. And, I mean, I thought the sleeper for this one was the... well, not sleeper, but the one I kind of disagree with as well was the vodka sauce. Like you said, it's classic. I'm trying to remember, did I vote for that one? No.
At least one other person voted for this, so it wasn't just me.
It was probably me.
Can you see it? Oh, yeah, Tori.
Okay.
Yeah, Tori did vote for this one.
What the hell?
This one made it in with only 2 votes, I will say.
I mean, I did vote for 4, and my 4th pick didn't make it in, obviously, so.
Right.
Fair.
But, and then the Mike's Hot Honey, I think just the whole color palette, that brown, tan, gold, and red was pretty much those like main colors that made up that label, and it just worked so well together. And a lot of like little fine details, the whole like Argyle crisscrossing diamonds around the border.
It was sharp.
Argyle was tight.
I will say, though, like, you see a lot of like Italian, and this is one thing we all have been very clear about our love for Newman's Own. Label is good, but label is not fancy for them. And I will say that, like, in comparison, the Alla Famiglia is a classy, fancy choice. So, like, if you wanted to cook for a date and you wanted to make some Italian food, this would have a lot better presentation on the table than a lot of other
Prego ragu.
Sure. Exactly.
Naturally.
Like, I think this is a local, like I said, I believe we established a local Pittsburgh institution,
True.
A nice establishment, a nice restaurant. And
that doesn't give them points on their label, though.
Nope, that's very true. That is very true. This is just about label. Like I said, I studied this one a long time. I know I voted for it. I thought it was a very fair choice.
They had that whole family story about, like, on the label, about their, like, humble beginnings and the park that they, like, developed. That whole.
That's Del Grosso.
Not label choice.
Oh, that was Del Grosso, wasn't it?
And you're fucking wrong. But no, I think the other thing too to bear in mind here is that I think, and this is just my opinion, but I think this year we didn't have as many great choices for Dapper Dipper as we did last year.
Some of these are shining examples. I mean, me personally, obviously, I think black truffle oil and Mike's Hot Honey
are a step above. I think that, without doing any spoilers for listeners, I think I'm inclined to agree with you. Being a little devil's advocate, I did like the Alla Famiglia, but I do feel like the other ones are hitting a class above, and it's sad because, like I said, those were really the two obvious choices, and we really didn't have a clear third choice, which is, like I said, last year I feel like this was one of the easier categories to pick for, but...
I know I put a lot of votes in there, but I guess no one else agreed with any of the ones I voted for down there, so...
Fair, but... Well, I think some of your choices were like the Balazian barbacoa, and I did think the beaver cranberry mustard was an interesting one.
It was sharp with that like teal and that cranberry color and whatnot.
The color choice was interesting. Nice, but as far as overall, it was like plastic bottles and stuff. Like, I don't know. To me, this has almost got to be a glass category.
Mike's Hot Honey was plastic, right?
It's another.
Was it?
Yeah.
Was it like a hard plastic or something?
It was squeezed.
It was squeezed plastic.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Call me wrong. I said these were all glass, and I was wrong. I've forgotten that then.
That label was sharp, though. Look it up on the dang Instagram.
It was a sharp label, to be fair. But we'll do our voting now for the Dapper Dipper. And like I said, we'll announce that at the end of the show who the winner is.
I think E should do this next category because I think he may, after his last night, I think he may embody this, considering he's, doing hard-ass work out here.
To be quite honest, I think this category is Eric's category.
It really is.
This is the category that, like, who is the one who is always in charge of saving these poor sauces? It's always Eric.
Dragging them out of the mud.
The rest of us
I don't know. You helped
done.
out a lot the second season, Adam. You did a lot of like cooking and whatnot with some.
All right, that's fair.
Some sauces after the fact. So I wasn't always on me. I think it was more in the first season.
Well, let's take a step back. Go ahead and introduce the category at least first, Eric.
Yes, this fourth category for us here is the Comeback Kid sauce. So this is a sauce that we initially tried it and maybe didn't think it was that great, but we talked about it at length and thought of different applications for it, and probably did maybe a sauce spoken rewind on it, and gave it a little bit more props. So that's pretty much our comeback kid.
There's another huge condition of the Comeback Kid that you're missing that revolves around you.
My ingredients,
your ability to salvage it, to pull it out of the dregs.
Ease redemption. Which we haven't done a formal ease redemption in a while, but we used to do that as a segment, which was essentially just like, hey, Eric tried the sauce and managed to figure out a way to save this fuck up.
I mean, honestly, I think these sauces were, I don't know if these ones really need that much savings per se. I know, well, I guess two of them did. I don't know about
which two, E?
In my mind, so the nominees for this category is, in no particular order, the Desert Heat Hot Sauce Collection, the Bulldog Tonkatsu, right?
Yep.
Try it again.
The Bulldog Tonkatsu. There's a G in there, isn't there?
Well,
I can't see.
There's no
It
G.
starts with a T.
You don't got your glasses.
Just a blur.
Yeah, you lost your glasses like last night in your drinking escapades. We covered that.
The Bulldog fruit sauce. We'll just call it that way. And then we have the Stonewall Kitchen's gingerbread butter. So.
Yeah, which these three are another interesting three. Now, I think it bears mentioning. We should give a little explanation for why each of these are on here. The Desert Heat, I think, is an obvious choice, which we'll get around to later. The Bulldog Tonkatsu is maybe less obvious because we think we generally liked it, but the problem is we didn't really try it on the right stuff. We tried it on like an apple.
Yeah, it was an apple. My bad. I know.
Now you made an educated guess based on what it said. It wasn't your fault. Like,
it
was
called
just
a fruit sauce. Right.
Yeah, we learned later, that it should be tried more on like
fried pork.
Yeah, exactly. Like a hot
the exact damn opposite.
A hot
but fried
savory
pork and apples would be pretty good.
It
I
would
like that
be.
sauce.
It would be, but we thought that we should try it on like fruit and vegetables, but it turns out it has that in it instead. So that was what the mistake was, which once I think we tried it on some more appropriate stuff, it was, excellent.
Pretty damn
fantastic.
good, yeah.
So that's a fair point. Now, Eric, the Stonewall Kitchen gingerbread butter, that one was all you. That was
all
your...
me. Yeah.
That was a classic E's redemption.
I was going to say, that is a quintessential E pick.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about your escapades with that?
So that one I insisted during the show that it would be good on cooked chicken.
Insane.
Which
batshit insane. I still maintain that.
We're going to lock you up, E.
And you guys still didn't even get to try it. And I actually took that sauce home with me to Ohio and had my parents try it with me. And they all agreed that it was absolutely fantastic on just some regular cooked chicken breast. And we made a sandwich out of it. Just buttered both sides of the bread and put a cooked chicken breast between it. And it was delicious.
So what? You just basted this gingerbread butter and then roasted it?
Did you marinate it? Or what'd you do?
I need some dates here.
It was just served right after we cooked the chicken breast in a pan and put a little bit of salt and pepper on it like you would with any other just regular chicken breast, bland chicken breast.
A normal person, right? Yeah.
Right. And then and then we let that cool a little bit, so it was only more like room temperature. It wasn't really hot. And then we had the gingerbread butter that had been pulled out of the fridge, but it was still pretty cold, pretty much. And we just spread it right on top of the bread and then put that chicken on there.
That sounds so bad.
That's worse than I could ever imagine.
Yeah, it sounds horrendous. I'll give you props.
You spread it cold on the bread before.
Yeah. And then put that chicken on it. And it was...
That makes me nauseous.
Amazing. And also, before I made a sandwich with it, I just dipped. I took a little spoonful out, put it on my plate, dipped a little bit of chicken in and said, yeah, that's good. And my parents tried it and they were like, yeah, that is really tasty. Really
so what's
worked.
stopping you from dipping a chicken nugget in there?
Nothing. You could do that.
Oh, if you're a fucking psychopath. What did we try it on originally?
We tried it on a...
bread.
Just bread? Okay,
just
yeah.
Toast.
I said butter,
right?
right?
Toast or a cracker or something like that.
Which it was fine on that. It wasn't great, but yeah, on...
No,
Eric.
wait. We got those little croissants.
That's right.
A real buttery croissant.
Yeah.
Which...
That's so insane to me that you tried that on chicken. That is an insane person choice to me.
I got to side with him on this one, man. Dude, that shit's weird.
And what was the main ingredient in it, too? I think it was potato. It was sweet potato, right?
Yeah, something weird as fuck like that, Eric. That's so...
So it was basically sweet potatoes and there's sweetened potatoes and chicken. It was good. Very good.
We gotta spend a little bit of time talking about the desert heat hot sauces, which, like I said, I think it's an obvious one because we started off on a failed attempt to do a March Madness bracket with some hot sauces we got.
That's right.
And it very quickly became obvious that the sauces that we tried that we got from Christmas were absolutely brutally, painfully spicy at their hottest level and mediocre at best. So...
At best. On their best day.
On their best day, they were mediocre.
On Easter Sunday is their best day.
It very quickly became obvious that in this bracket, the desert heat sauces would become the final four. So we decided to skip straight to the desert heat hot sauces. And
I think all the other hot sauces.
I think if nothing else, they deserve a spot of true honor here from saving us from that hellacious March Madness bracket that we had initially signed up for.
See, those are the ones I didn't understand because we all liked them, but now it makes sense in that context of how they came to our rescue.
That's right. Place of gratitude in my heart for getting us out of that miserable bracket. So yeah, I think that's this is actually a really tough one to me because I'm torn in three different directions. I'm torn in polar opposite, but three different directions. Yeah, I would say we're okay to start voting on this, but man, this is a hard one for me.
This is a tough one. Yeah.
So let's go ahead and
all three stand alone.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do our. Oh man, I'm still struggling. This is a tough one. Let's go ahead and do our voting on these, though.
My vote has already been cast for those who are curious.
You're listening to the writing sounds.
Yeah, the fevered scribbles.
All right, well, let's go ahead now. Now that voting is concluded, let's go ahead and move on to the final category. Tori, do you want to lead us off with this one? This one's a pretty obvious one.
Sure, I certainly can. This one's called Foreign Flair, and this one revolves around sauce manufacturers that happen to be outside of the continental United States. So we're talking about anything that's, us good old Yankees. And the confirmed nominees are Kerrygold Irish Butter, yet again, Bulldog, Tonkatsu sauce, or that fruit sauce we mentioned earlier, and of course, E's favorite, Blasian.
Blasian
Barbacoa Original is showing up, I believe, for the second time, yeah? Second or third time.
Or was it maybe the second? No, I think it was a runner-up, we said, for the Dapper Dipper, because I really like their label.
Now, I think it bears mentioning that this was another one that had a tiebreaker, and it was between the tiebreaker of the Blasian Barbacoa Original and the Kikkoman plum sauce, and I was the sole vote for the plum sauce, which I gotta be honest, guys, like I took that home and I hammered on that.
That was a nice shade of purple, I guess.
It was so good. It was so tasty. I used every last look of that in the bottle until I had some fridge malfunctions and I had to throw it out. But it was really good. I liked it a lot. So I think it's time for us to start the debate here for these, though.
All right,
Tori, you want to lead us off with some of your thoughts on some of these?
Boy, Kerrygold, my man, you can't beat it. I mean, I'm a breakfast boy. I like breakfast, so, by that virtue, that's certainly the most breakfast-friendly ingredient on there. Because you're talking waffles, French toast.
It's fair.
Any number of good things. The Bulldog Tonkatsu, I mean, that shit's good too, man. I mean, I ain't gonna lie. We talked about it once before. It's good. So it is pretty dang good. The Blasian Barbacoa, that is similar. I think it's sort of limping in here on this one. I don't know. I think it's
I'm honestly not even sure that it was... I don't know if it was manufactured outside of the U.S.
It's Blasian. I think it is. Yeah. I think it's manufactured inside, but it's
right.
This is one that's kind of like borderline. Some of the times for the foreign ones,
like a little creative license here.
Gotcha, problem,
if that's okay.
And now this is a little aside, but the problem is that so many companies these days are headquartered in one space for tax reasons.
Oh, hell
They do their manufacturing in another place for labor reasons, and they do their exports to a third place, for monetary reasons. So you have this issue where it's like, what are you really calling, after all, what are you really calling a foreign sauce? So I think this Blasian Barbacoa, sure, American company, but I think that the manufacturer, the person who started it, was foreign, and I think that's where this inspiration came from.
Sure, yeah, the flavor's inspiration, exactly.
Exotic oils from Belize.
It's really hard to say what you want to call foreign, so I think we took our best shot. I took my best shot when I selected these, so and I think that it is a reasonable place for this to be. I think that is fitting. So it's a tricky one, but as far as I'm concerned, yeah, the Kerrygold, obviously, that's, like I said, that's an obvious choice. It's great. We verified on the internet it is a top-ranked butter of
it is
many people's choice, and I was wrong on that one. I said I didn't think it was as good as it. I will say I was overruled.
It truly is, bro.
And something we've been forgetting to mention about the Bulldog sauce, or we just haven't mentioned yet to recap, is that whole lid design on it was amazing.
Oh, that's right.
I know that doesn't really pertain to
that's such a good
this.
point. Yeah, that's such a good point that I totally forgot about the unique pouring options. You actually had a couple different options to pour. I had forgotten about that, and it didn't quite fit into a Dapper Dipper. Maybe an X Factor, but that was really cool, and I did like it because it was easy to use it as like a dipping sauce or like a marinade if you want to pour a lot out. Very cool lid design.
And then the barbacoa, well, also a special spot in my heart because that's a Kickstarter sauce. Sauce was actually started on Kickstarter.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
And the company went defunct after 3 years. Actually, you can't get it anymore, which is also sad.
We did mention that, which is unfortunate, but I still do have some in my fridge.
Me too. Good.
I'm still intending to make some beef jerky with the hotter ones.
Ooh, that'd be good.
That'd be good. Yeah, right.
But so again, another very, very interesting lineup of choices. Again, I think we did manage to pick a really good lineup for all of these, and then the same thing with the first year. We had so many good options to pick from.
Yep.
And the only thing I will say about the second year is that we ended up having to do less rounds of voting because the first year we had a lot of problems where we had to do like a ranked choice voting system in order to select the finalists. On this one, we only had 3. Right off the bat, 2 of the categories had obvious nominees. And then this one, we had 3 categories where we had to do a simple tiebreaker between 2 other options, and that was it. So the options, I think, were pretty clear this year, which I think is interesting. But let's go ahead and let's do now our voting for the foreign flair.
My vote's already cast, dude. It's
Mine
in.
too. Mine's in.
Locked in. That's my final answer, Reach.
We are at the final category here, too, so.
Yeah, we are at the final category. We had, like I said, we discussed changing the categories. We discussed doing some other things, but I think now it is time for us to go ahead and reveal the winners. Now, we'll go back and start off with the Mr. Universe category, and we'll read the nominees again, and then we'll reveal our votes. Once again, for Mr. Universe, the final nominees were In-N-Out Spread, Nutella, and the Manwich Original Sloppy Joe Sauce. Tori, do you want to go ahead and read us off your choice for that?
Of course, I selected the only choice available, and that is our friends at Ferrero Nutella, of course.
Nice.
All right. Eric, what was your choice?
Nutella.
And I gotta be honest, as much as I liked it, our first ever Perfect 10 rating was In-N-Out, but nonetheless, because In-N-Out has such a limited spread in the United States, I went with Nutella.
Nutella, baby, unanimous.
It's a staple in households across the United States and the world.
We love it.
I think that's a no-brainer to go ahead and go with Nutella.
Money all day.
The chocolate, the taste.
Congratulations, Ferrero and Nutella. You are the winner
Yeah.
of a throwaway 3D printed trophy that will never arrive.
We won't be
So
doing
don't get your hopes up.
Last year we did 3D printed trophies. That didn't go so hot. I paid a fortune in
Waited like 2 hours in the
mailing.
post office.
Yeah, waited 2 hours,
love
paid
it.
a fortune in mailing fees. Some of them made them, some of them got returned to sender, and I had to redo them again.
Internationally.
Yeah, so it was a total nightmare.
Classic.
This year, you'll be getting an envelope with a printed on paper award rather than a 3D printed award.
We might mention it on Instagram if you're lucky.
I will say this: if one of these companies wants an award and they want to reach out to us and get it, we will 3D print them one. I will do that, but I'm not going to do it preemptively to go either into
You gotta want it.
probably to go into some executive into trash can. Well, if we're being honest here, like it's going right in the dumpster. They probably just take the envelopes, fan mail, trash.
Yeah. See ya.
But
Which is stupid. Which is really stupid.
I mean, to be fair, I don't know, but I also didn't hear back from any guys being like, hey, wow, this is super cool. Thanks for doing this.
If people are willing to go out of their time, out of their way for something like that, acknowledge it for 2 seconds. It's free. It's easy. Go on Instagram. I mean, I don't know. If I was a businessman, I mean, how cheap and easy is that? We would be over the moon and we would be buying, XYZ product for the rest of our lives.
Look at Newman's Own gave us the slightest amount of acknowledgement, and we have been singing their praises.
Oh my
ever
goodness,
since.
we love them.
They're like
Absolutely.
our best
50
friends on the
Yeah,
show.
I take a bullet for Paul.
Barks Root Beer has done nothing for us, and I've been espousing how much I love them. So I think that's totally fair. But let's go ahead and move on to the Toilet Treasure Award now. Now, again, the final nominees for this category, which is a sauce with an X factor that wasn't factored in the original flavor rating, we have Vienna Beef, Chicago-style hot dog kit, the Black Truffle Oil, and the Melinda's Original Habanero XX Extra Hot Sauce. Tori, do you want to lead us off with your pick for this?
That's right. Holy cow. The Windy City, the Chicago dog, baby.
Nice. I was really torn on this one. For me, I had to go with the Melinda's. You know, I like the spice with the flavor. That's a tricky one to do, we said. So it's going to come down to E.
This might get ugly.
For me, it was the Windy City.
Chicago dog.
Chicago dog.
There's just so much more. I still want to explore for that too. You know, I mean, I want to go to Chicago and try this.
I have a friend at work who is in Chicago as we speak, and I said, get a Chicago dog and report back.
Freeze dry it.
I need to hear it. And that, honestly, that might be enough to change it. I would like to go to Chicago and try that out. I didn't go in high school. It was a common thing for people in, I think, Model UN to go. For whatever reason, the circumstances didn't align for me to go. I didn't get to get my trip to Chicago. And I would also really like to try a deep dish pizza.
Yeah.
An authentic one, at least.
That sounds good.
All right, well, let's move on to the Dapper Dipper category. Now, as Tori mentioned earlier, this is the one who's the best dressed, as you will, the most fancy label design or bottle design.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I'm going to go ahead and let Eric lead us off with this one. What was your top pick for this one, Eric?
For me, I had to go with that truff oil. I just think it's so sleek. Like you said, it has that glass jar to it, and it outshone, just slightly from the competition as being the one with the most unique bottle design. And you're going down the aisle and you just see it, like immediately that shape and that top.
I will say this: their marketing department is A1. They are on Instagram. They're on all kinds of places. They've got truffle mayonnaise now, which I'd be really curious to try. as a competition to Duke's mayonnaise. I'd be curious to try that.
Oh, head to head.
But Tori, hit us with your pick for this one.
Aha, my man. It's a black tie event. Truff is the stuff, my man. Black label, black tie. Holla.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I was right into Truff. Truff is the stuff, my
another
man.
unanimous.
Yeah, and I gotta be honest. To me, the big differentiator between the Mike's Hot Honey, they both had cool labels. I like the bottles, but the Truff was glass.
Yep.
And fuck, that lid was cool as hell.
It was sharp.
I gotta say, that thing was just dope. I really enjoyed looking at that lid like that. Everything about that, I love. That was absolutely my style. So, congratulations, Truff, for Dapper Dipper. And I think that's one of my favorite categories.
That's a good category to get.
That is like, a lot of these are very subjective. This one is like very out front. Like, to win the most attractive sauce we've tried in the past year in the bottle like that, that's a prestigious award.
That's judging a book by its cover and winning.
And the thing is, too, sometimes we judge them by that, whether or not the sauce is good. We judge it based on whether the actual, the bottle looks cool. That one, it was both. The flavor was good and the bottle was cool. All right, so for Comeback Kid, now this is the one, like I said, that Eric has saved, or it was bad initially, and we managed to figure it out and get it sorted out. So the nominees for this category are going to be Desert Heat hot sauces, the Bulldog tonkatsu sauce, and the Stonewall Kitchen gingerbread butter. For some reason, Eric, I want to hear you, number one. I want to hear what your Comeback Kid is.
My Comeback Kid is actually going to be the Bulldog fruit sauce.
Really?
Because in the spirit of Comeback Kid, that's the one that we messed it up so bad. And then we came back to it.
We tried, but we did.
That was a colossal
fail.
And the thing is, the thing about it is that it was truly really good.
It was.
It wasn't bad. I mean, it was really a good sauce.
I mean, honestly, like, when we tried it on the wrong stuff, I was like, okay, like, it's vinegary, and I was trying to like it, even because I did kind of like the sauce by itself. And then we tried it on the fruit. I didn't care for it as much. Yeah. And so then we rated it low. I don't even know what our rating was. It's fair to say, though,
it wasn't. Honestly, it was better on the fruit than lots of other sauces we've tried for their intended purpose. I will say that.
Yeah,
so that's why I went with.
That's terrible to say.
It's true though.
That's true. You're absolutely right.
Totally
it's true.
Wrong.
Yeah.
But what about you, Tori? What'd you have for this category?
Well, I had it for a couple of reasons. It would come back in nonetheless. The Desert Heat, the D Heat. I had the Desert Heat, and I'm going to tell you why. Because this was the comeback episode after that debacle of a bracket we had. We had your boy on. We had Bruce, Big Bruce on for Desert Heat.
Yeah. That's right.
It was on the fours. We had 4 dudes on episode 74. 4 sauces. You can't beat it. Desert Heat pulled this whole thing out of the dumpster. It got to be Desert Heat. There's no question.
Well, I guess it's going to come down to little old me. Am I going to go with the Desert Heat, the Bulldog, or the Stonewall Kitchen, which I think is an abomination? For me personally, it's the Desert Heat.
Oh, Desert Heat!
You're totally right, Tori. This is the epitome of a comeback kid. This is something that was so off track, it derailed the entire format of our show.
Yeah.
And this is something that, you know how rigid and anal I am about format. This is something that literally mid-show, I pulled the plug on, and I'm like, no.
Dude, it was a general consensus. We all...
Yeah.
It was stupid.
Unfinishably bad. And the only saving grace that we got out of that was Desert Heat. If this is not the epitome of a comeback kid, something that ended up being actually a pretty good, enjoyable episode out of something that was pure misery.
Like you said, it saved the show, really. So.
This is arguably the biggest epitome of comeback kid of anything we've done so far. This is truly it in a nutshell. Now,
it's a shining example.
This is something that was interesting that we had a kit that won it because we don't typically have that. But yeah, truly, this is undeniable to me. Undeniable. So yeah, that's the one for me.
There you have it. Aldi's USA. Congratulations. You have won.
That's right.
The Comeback Kid.
And that's the thing,
I forgot about that. That was Aldi's.
That was an Aldi's
They're
pick.
like a no-name, but it was actually good.
It was very good.
It wasn't even like an Aldi's brand. It was like a no-name for Aldi's, and it was still good.
Literally a week ago, I pulled out that habanero garlic and put it on my breakfast burrito, and it was fantastic.
Still good.
Yeah. So.
Cool. Let's go ahead and we'll move on to our final category, which is the foreign flair. Now, for this one here, our nominees are going to be the Kerrygold Irish Butter, the Bulldog Tonkatsu Sauce.
Hello again.
And the Blazing Barbacoa.
And another hello again.
Now, I'll go first for this one because I haven't gone first yet. So I would say, for me, I'll go first because I haven't gone first yet. For me, Foreign Flair, it didn't quite make it into the Comeback Kid, but for me, this one's going to be the Bulldog Tonkatsu Sauce.
Wow.
Tonkatsu sauce.
For Foreign Flair, like I said, I like the Blazing Barbacoa. I really like the Kerrygold, but like I said, I was one that was hard to convince on the Kerrygold. I was pretty staunch on that there might be better butters. I still think there might be, but you may have to go out of country to get them. But for what we got here, I do think that, for me personally, Bulldog Tonkatsu, it deserves something. So, What about you, Tori?
I think you make a really valiant point, and I agree. I do think Bulldog Tonkatsu sauce deserves something, but I'm sorry, my man. Today is not your day because it's Kerrygold time. The butter wins. The butter is better. Butter makes it better, and it certainly did today. Kerrygold is my vote.
And my vote was the Belizean.
Really?
I just thought, you
know.
First time ever.
That cult Kickstarter and everything, so, I never really like it. I don't know.
Wow, we've
So
never...
we're just in split now.
Now, this is really interesting because thus far, between last year and this year, we haven't had a perfectly even split. Now, I know last year I had a strategy for this, and since then, I've had far too many beers and far too many months to remember what I had.
Yeah.
I was a lot smarter back then.
A lot of appliance tragedies and
my
other nightmares.
Fourth or fifth beer tonight. I don't remember exactly how many. So I don't remember what my initial strategy was, but I think this is...
Wow.
You know what? I gotta say it. It's been a long-ass time, but it's time yet again to summon our friend... Ghost Paul!
Ghost Paul!
Bring out Ghost Paul, Eric!
Bring
him out!
Oh, yes. Wow. Incredible turn of events.
All right, well, for the listeners that aren't aware, it's been a long time since we had our friend Ghost Paul on the show. Now, Ghost Paul was someone who's brought in to give somewhat of a randomizer score, and he was primarily brought in to... Eric was on a kick for a while about having some level of algorithm that we were trying to break him of, and we did manage to successfully break him of that, but this is the goal. This is the ghost possibly of... it's Ghost Paul, possibly of certain movie acclaim.
Certain.
We won't name him specifically.
He's really handsome, and he drives a race car.
But at one point, he was a new man on the show, and now he is going to be an old man, as it were. So, because he's making, once again, in a reappearance, Ghost Paul.
He's very often depicted in uniforms that are relevant to the time period or maybe the name of the sauce that he's in. So you can go ahead and connect the dots.
If you were a person who liked to eat a lot of eggs and you're looking for some sauce on it, like say 70 eggs or something like that, you might be looking for a sauce. Ghost Paul might be someone you would look for advice for. That's all we'll say. For this, we've got Kerrygold is going to be 1 and 2. Bulldog is going to be 3 and 4. And Blazing Barbacoa is going to be 5 and 6. So we're going to roll a die, and Ghost Paul is going to tell us what he thinks the best foreign flair.
Come on, Paul.
All right,
you know
Ghost
that
Paul.
Butter
Show
be
us,
the bomb.
Show us your wisdom.
Come on, 6.
3!
right.
Bulldog Tonkatsu sauce.
A double
pulls
winner.
it ahead.
It's a fair winner. I mean, yeah, I can't.
It was my second up.
I can't bitch. I can't complain. I think all three of them really.
I'll be honest with you. I really, really, really thought Kerrygold was going to clinch this one out. I'm actually shocked. I honest to God thought that Bulldog was going to have to be always the bridesmaid honorable mention because I didn't think it was going to win one this year. And
it won 2. Didn't
no,
it?
it didn't.
Oh, I thought
It came damn close.
the Desert Heat won the one before it. Oh, that's right.
That's right. Are you still drunk, Eric? Is that possible? Well, cool.
My vote was for the Bulldog sauce on the previous one. That's why.
So once again, for the listeners, Mr. Universe, the winner this year, Nutella. Toilet Treasure, the winner, is going to be the Vienna Beef Chicago-style hot dog kit. Dapper Dipper, of course, is the black truffle oil. Comeback Kid, the Desert Heat hot sauces. Thank you guys so much for existing.
Yep.
Yes.
Thank you.
The Foreign Flair Bulldog Tonkatsu sauce. Now, I think at this point, if you want to throw out any honorable mentions, I don't exactly know what you would call it, but I think that Kerrygold has earned something like they were very enjoyable. I will say that.
Kerrygold, I mean, It's damn good. It is good.
They are maybe the Golden Goose Award or something like that. You know,
I like it.
Kerry Gold,
Gold, the Golden Goose. It's tailor made.
I will say that they've definitely earned something. The Mike's Hot Honey,
very good too.
And they've got local tie-ins. So I would say maybe like some kind of local support. You know, they've got Ironborn Pizza, a chain we've mentioned. They throw Mike's Hot Honey on there, and I think that's a classic combo that I really enjoy.
I mean, we're 2 Saucies in now. I can very confidently say now, I don't think any one of these nominees was undeserved. I don't think there was. I mean, I know I mentioned a couple limped in and this and that, but
no.
I mean, honest to goodness, the Famiglia wasn't bad. There was certainly a whole hell of a lot worse.
Fair.
And I get what you're saying. It was a different concept. It was sort of a, ancient Roman against, postmodern or whatever. Hey, it happens. But
we just had a really great season. I think
it was a good season. I will say, and I want to make one last honorable mention, which is 10 and Out. They were our very first perfect 10 episode.
That's right.
I brought the sauce all the way back from California. I mean, that is a really special place in my heart. I don't know what to call that honorable mention, but I mean, it deserves something.
Yeah.
So it was the freshest sauce. Because honestly,
that is true.
It was the freshest sauce we've
expiring. It was actually expired by the time we tried it, and I only tried it like a week after we got it.
Wow.
Right.
So very impressed, and it was still damn good despite traveling in an airplane after being in my freezer. Like, I'm sure it wasn't as good as it could have been. And I gotta be honest, I'm already craving my next trip out to California.
Woo, baby, let's go.
That shit was good.
I got enough room.
But, all right, well, I think that's going to do it for us this year for the 2022 Saucy Awards. And the only other thing I wanted to throw on here at the very last minute was I wanted to try a little sauce. This was one we got for Christmas. This was one I considered throwing on for the episode with the aforementioned disastrous March Madness Heat episode, but it didn't quite fit the bill as a hot sauce. But I got this Fat Cat Puri Puri sauce, which I think is very similar to the Nando's Peri Peri sauce in name. I think that's what we're going for, but the flavor is a little bit different. It's your most perfectly standard bottle design, like a shrunken beer bottle with a black cap, and it's got a very super plain mustard yellow label, very plain text, and then it's got a very MS Paint.
MS Paint. I was just about ready to say MS Paint.
An extremely MS Paint cat with some sunglasses on, a red nose, some whiskers, and a little bow tie. It says heat level medium, made in Florida, national award winner, our version of the classic South African condiment peri peri, great with grilled meat, chicken, and shrimp, as a sandwich spread, and also on wings. There's some more shit on there. We're not going to read the ingredients because we've already done a Nando's Peri Peri, but I just wanted to say this is something I wanted to throw on really quick. What were you guys' thoughts on this? We tried this on some chicken nuggies.
It's a 10. Easy. See ya. I love it. Yeah, I love every second of it. It's a little bit spicy. Yeah, boo-hoo. But, dude, it's called Fat Cat. It has a cat on it, and it's pretty damn good. I think it'd be good on some fried chicken. Holla at your boy, 10.
I think this is pretty cheesy. Like, my mom got this for me.
I love it.
I tried it. I took a hefty dip in some chicken nuggets. Like, I loaded the thing to the britches, going in blind, and it was damn fucking good. I want more chicken nuggets.
Good.
It was very tasty. I liked it, too.
10 for me. Yeah.
10.
What about you, E?
You know what? It's not label design. 10.
10! Hell yeah.
I love it.
MS Paint shit. Yeah, I would say if you guys... I don't even know where my mom got this shit from. Like I said, it's from Florida, so...
Send more.
Yeah, our friend Big A here...
He gives it a 10.
He's 2 thumbs up. He's had half a bottle of whiskey, and he loves it.
That's why he's so quiet. He's too busy drinking liquor.
Yeah, he's laying on the floor next to his car. He can't find his phone. He can't find his glasses. And he's puking all over himself. So, but yeah. That's definitely an honorable mention to Puri Puri sauce, too. So, cool. That's going to do it for us with this year, our Saucy Awards. And with all that being said, Eric, what the fuck do you have to say for yourself?
E, there are so many closing thoughts, dude. Oh, please, let me have one.
So many poor choices this week, really. Be smarter. Be smarter than me. Be smarter than me. That's a low bar, but just, be smarter. Let's keep it nice and simple.
So if your friends try to tell you stuff, maybe don't not listen to them just to spite them. Maybe listen to them.
Dude.
They tell you not to take that last shot. If they tell you not to take that last running somersault in their yard, maybe listen.
Yes.
Of all stupid ass things, life just lobbed in.
Yes.
The opportunity for a closing thought. and you somehow managed to whiff a million times right in a row. The outfield saying, "Oh, thanks for the breeze, my man."
I can't wait till your parents get to this episode. E.
Oh my goodness!
I'm borderline legit ready to stage an intervention.
I already texted his mom. It's over.
You had multiple
I
people come over to your house to check on you to make sure you were alive, including the police. If that's not a sign, I don't know what is. So, and not only that, but when you said that, you said, "I think this happened to me before," but you couldn't remember then when. That's even more concerning. Oof.
Oof.
You should get oof tattooed on your forehead.
Oh, man.
I can be smarter than that, I think.
And now it's time for Touching Thoughts with Tori.
Oh, boy. Well, thank you. I get to put on my sweater and be Mr. Rogers for a minute or two. And E, my God, you had so many opportunities for a good final thought. I'm almost disappointed. Now I have all these cards up my sleeve that I can use because I was entirely expecting you to use one. So I might hit you with two. How about that? A season finale, hit you with two touching thoughts, things to think about as we move on to our next week. First of which probably is gratitude. And this is especially what I was thinking about E was going to say, because I think if E took, I hate to be real with you, but I'm going to do it. If you took a look at your last 24 hours and you've seen how people around you reacted to, whatever decisions you made, good, bad, or otherwise, I'm not going to judge you on that. What I am looking at is the reaction of those around you. And I think it's probably worthwhile to be gracious towards them because a lot of people like you. Not just you, E, but the collective you that is listening, the broader you at home, and you in the car, and you doing your makeup, and you maybe in the shower, possibly. We're watching, by the way. But
you're naughty or you're nice. Don't be naughty in the shower, you sick fucks.
Well, you never know. But yeah, so I think gratitude is probably a good thing to think about. So, E, I'm not picking on you. I know decisions are made. I get it. I was there. The police were involved too. I get it. But so my second final thought, because I got two for an extra long episode, Spotify's going to charge you $1 million this month. is I'm going to challenge you to go out and do something that is specifically you. That is something that you defines and embodies you, because we like you, and the more of you that is around, probably the better off everybody is going to be. So I want to challenge you. I know you got to put on a mask for everybody when you pick up the telephone, when you go to work, when you see this one or that one, when you go here or there. Do you, because you are good and we love you. And we're going to be here next week, and we certainly hope you are too. Good night.
Especially don't drink and drive. We want to make sure you're here next week.
Do not drink
and we
drive.
Don't want to have to call the police for a wellness check on you. But yeah, no, I think Tori makes an excellent point, Eric. I told Tori when I got the text, hey, Eric didn't show up to work today. We don't know what's going on with him. We think he might not be okay. I was halfway out of my chair before I got the text that said, oh, he's okay. And I was about ready to come
It was 2 minutes. There was a 2 minute difference between that.
I was about ready to come kick your fucking door in and drag your ass out myself. And I think that probably most of the rest of your friends felt the same way. And your boss obviously cared enough about you to collect you off the ground, scrub the puke out of his truck, drag your drunk ass home.
At no cost to you.
Return your phone to you, and call the police in order to make sure you were still alive. So I think that is a telling sign of nothing else.
Look around.
Maybe take as much care of yourself as the other people around you like to take care of you. So
there's a lot to be grateful for. Look around. You will find it. If you find things to be grateful for, you will find it. Boom.
There you have it.
There you go, E. Slam dunk.
Third one.
All right.
There's a lot to be grateful for.
As always, thank you guys so much for listening. Thanks for catching up on our 2022 Saucy Awards. If you'd like to send a motivational message to Eric to take better care of himself throughout the next week, saucespoken@gmail.com.
Instagram's always available.
Thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll catch you next week.
Oh no, it's the end of the show. Thank goodness there's several other episodes waiting just for you. Check out our Instagram. We like to have some fun over there. We post the sauce bottle pics if you're curious, and the occasional meme. That's going to be Sauce Spoken official. Despite our humble nature, we are accepting donations, believe it or not. Look us up on PayPal. That's going to be @SauceSpoken. Hey, and if you like what you hear, grease those palms, babe. Lastly, roll up your sleeves and get into the nitty-gritty. It's saucespoken.wordpress.com. We have show notes and details. Check it out. Share us with a family member or a friend. If you're enjoying it, I'm certain they will too. Good night.